one of the most commonly asked questions is what is the compliance requirements of an incorporated company in the UAE? Hey everyone, before we move ahead, please click on the subscribe button to stay updated on our weekly business and finance related content, which is incredibly useful for business owners, CEOs, CFOs, entrepreneurs, and those who aspire to be one. Now let's get back to the video. When advising clients on setting up a business in the UAE, one of the most commonly asked questions is what is the compliance requirements of an incorporated company in the UAE? So in this video, we have curated a list of requirements that you need to be aware of after you set up your business. UAE does have a very professional work environment which is very beneficial for business growth. However, it's very important for the leaders of UAE that the business laws in UAE are of international standards. If the business laws are not complied to, hefty penalties will be levied. The compliance requirements vary from business to business, but here are some of the most important requirements in the UAE. The first compliance is taxation. The Federal Tax Authority, or the FTA, is the authority that regulates the tax compliance in the UAE. In the UAE, we have a very low rate of 5% VAT. A business must register for VAT once it crosses the threshold. And based on the income of the company, the returns must be filed on a quarterly or a monthly basis. There is no corporate tax or income tax in the UAE. However, we do expect corporate tax to be implemented in the near future. Another compliance requirement is a statutory audit. For mainland companies, it is required to do an audit every year. However, this is not required to be submitted to any government authority. However, in the case of a free zone, most free zones require an audit report to be submitted before the renewal of the license. Whichever the case may be, it's always better to hire a reputed audit firm to complete your annual audit. Seeing that the compliance requirements of UAE are reaching international standards, it will be very soon that the audit reports would need to be submitted to the government authorities. Another compliance requirement is the Economic Substance Regulations, or ESR, which was implemented in the UAE in 2020. Licenses that conduct a relevant activity need to submit a notification to the Ministry of Finance 6 months after the financial year end of the company, and an economic substance report needs to be submitted 12 months after the financial year end. The following activities will be considered as a relevant activity: banking business, insurance business, investment fund management business, lease finance business, headquarter business, shipping business, holding company business, intellectual property business, and distribution service center business. Another compliance requirement in the UAE is AML and CFT. Anti-money laundering and counter-finance terrorism regulations in the UAE must be complied with. A lot of the compliance requirements will be taken care of by the banks in the KYC procedures itself. However, businesses that conduct certain activities need to register with GoAML and also make sure that they report suspicious transactions. These activities include brokers and real estate agents, dealers in precious metals and precious stones, independent accountants, and corporate service providers. Another compliance requirement is that the ultimate beneficial owner, or UBO, and the shareholder register needs to be maintained. This needs to be submitted to the relevant regulatory authorities. They must also be informed if there are any changes to the shareholder or UBO information. How the submission is made varies from the regulatory authority. Hope this video gave you a better understanding of what the compliance requirements for a business in UAE is. Do note, this is not a comprehensive list of requirements, as based on the activity of the business you do, there may be additional requirements that you may have. This is just a general list of requirements that is required to know by all businesses in the UAE. Hey everyone, you've reached the end of this video. Thank you all for listening. If you like this content, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. If you'd like for us to talk about any specific topics, please do let us know in the comments below. Hope to see you in the next video.